It's Friday, everyone. What do we do on Fridays here at the Hint Hive? That's right, we smash the patriarchy. Hey there, my badass hive. Welcome back to the Hint Hive, amplifying women's voices. I'm your host, Kelly Hint, aka Queen Bee of this hive, and this is the space where we tell the truth, break cycles, challenge harmful narratives, and remind women everywhere that our voices, our safety, and our power matter. Today we're talking about something heavy, something uncomfortable, and something that far too many women experience in silence: domestic violence. Now, before we dive in, I want to say something very clearly. If this episode hits close to home for you, if you recognize pieces of your life in this conversation, please hear me when I say this. You are not alone. You are not overreacting, and what is happening to you is not your fault. Abuse thrives in silence. It thrives when people feel ashamed, confused, or isolated. Today, we're doing the opposite. Today, we are shining a bright, unapologetic light on it. And as always, here in the Hive, we're not just talking about problems. We're talking about power, awareness, and steps towards reclaiming safety and freedom. Domestic violence, also called intimate partner violence, is widely misunderstood. Many people think it only refers to physical violence, but the truth is, abuse often begins long before a single physical act ever occurs. Domestic violence can include physical abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, psychological manipulation, financial control, sexual coercion, isolation from friends or family, intimidation and threats, or digital monitoring and stalking. At its core, abuse is about power and control. Abusers often use a variety of tactics to slowly dominate a partner's independence, self-esteem, and support systems. And the scary thing is that it rarely starts out looking like abuse. It might start as jealousy disguised as passion. It might look like someone insisting that they just care too much when they demand to know where you are at all times. It might sound like criticism disguised as helpful advice. Little by little, boundaries get pushed. Control gets normalized. Confidence erodes. Over time, the victim may feel trapped, confused, dependent, or unsure of their own judgment. And let me be clear about something important. Abuse does not discriminate. It happens across every race, education level, religion, profession, and socioeconomic status. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, about 1 in 4 women in the United States experience severe intimate partner violence during their lifetime. Millions of women are affected every year. And those are just the reported numbers. The real number is almost certainly higher. Another important piece of understanding domestic violence is recognizing the cycle of abuse. Many abusive relationships follow a repeating pattern. First comes tension building. The abuser becomes increasingly irritable, critical, or controlling. Then comes the incident, which could be verbal abuse, emotional cruelty, intimidation, or physical violence. After that, often comes reconciliation. The abuser may apologize, promise to change, buy gifts, cry, or claim the behavior will never happen again. And finally, there's a period of calm. For a while, things seem okay. Sometimes they even feel loving again. This cycle can make it extremely confusing for survivors. Those temporary calm phases can create hope that the relationship is improving. Unfortunately, without real accountability and intervention, the cycle usually repeats and often escalates. Understanding this pattern is important because many survivors blame themselves for staying. But the reality is that psychological manipulation and intermittent kindness create powerful emotional conditioning. One of the most harmful and ignorant things society often says about domestic violence is this: why doesn't she just leave? How many times have you heard that? That question ignores the incredibly complex and dangerous reality of abusive relationships. Leaving is not always simple. As a matter of fact, it's rarely simple. In fact, research consistently shows that the most dangerous time for a survivor is when they try to leave. The risk of serious injury or homicide often increases during separation. There are many reasons that women stay in abusive relationships, including fear of retaliation or violence, financial dependence, housing security, any children involved, emotional attachment, trauma bonding, religious or cultural pressure, immigration concerns, or lack of support or resources. Trauma bonding is especially powerful. It happens when cycles of abuse are mixed with moments of affection, apology, or temporary calm. The survivor's brain begins associating relief and kindness with the same person who caused the pain. Over time, this creates deep psychological attachment that can make leaving feel emotionally devastating, even when someone logically knows the relationship is harmful. The brain is essentially trying to survive chaos by clinging to the moments when the threat temporarily disappears. And when abuse is mixed with occasional kindness, the brain becomes conditioned to chase those moments of relief. Neurochemically, it can resemble addiction cycles involving dopamine and stress hormones. This, ladies, is not weakness. It is psychology. Domestic violence affects far more than physical safety. It affects mental health, identity, and the nervous system. Survivors often experience anxiety, depression, PTSD, chronic stress, sleep disruption, hypervigilance, self-blame, and difficulty trusting others. When someone spends months or years hearing messages like, "You're crazy," "You're worthless," or "This is your fault," those statements can become internalized. The survivor may begin to question their own reality. This is especially common in relationships involving gaslighting, where the abuser deliberately denies events or twists the truth to make the victim doubt their memory or perception. We've all been subjected to gaslighting. I mean, across the world, we are currently being subjected to lots of gaslighting. But here's something incredibly important. Abuse may shape someone's story, but it does not define their worth or their future. Healing is possible. Safety is possible. Rebuilding a life after abuse is absolutely possible. And countless women do it every single day. I have had the pleasure of working with many of them. So let's talk about some of the warning signs of abuse. Sometimes abuse escalates gradually, and that makes it difficult to recognize early. So some warning signs can include extreme jealousy or possessiveness, monitoring your phone, email, or social media, constant accusations of cheating, isolating you from family or friends, controlling finances or access to money, blaming you for their anger, breaking objects or punching walls during arguments, gaslighting or making you doubt reality, and threatening to harm you, themselves, children, or pets. And that list is not exhaustive. Healthy love does not require fear. Healthy love does not require silence. Healthy love does not punish you for having independence. And healthy love never requires you to shrink yourself to keep the peace. All right, let's talk actionable steps for anyone experiencing abuse. If someone listening right now recognizes themselves in this conversation, here are some steps that can help protect safety and begin reclaiming control. Step number 1, tell someone that you trust. Abuse thrives in secrecy. Whether it's a friend, therapist, coach, family member, advocate, or hotline counselor, letting someone know what is happening creates support and breaks down isolation. Step number 2, create a safety plan. Safety planning might include identifying safe places you could go in an emergency, or keeping copies of important documents, storing a small emergency bag, or establishing a code word with trusted friends. Step number 3, document incidents if it is safe to do so. Keeping records of threats, injuries, screenshots, or controlling behavior may help later if legal protection becomes necessary. Even sending yourself an email detailing the incident as soon as it's safe to document it can provide a time-stamped record of the incidents. I learned that when I worked for a verbally abusive boss, and it is very effective. And finally, step 4, connect with domestic violence resources. There are trained advocates whose entire mission is helping survivors navigate options safely and confidentially. In the United States, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is available 24/7 and provides confidential support. You can call the hotline at 1-800-799-7233, or you can text the word BEGIN, BEGIN, to 88788. And if you Google National Domestic Violence Hotline, you can even connect directly with their chat feature. And this information will be included in the episode description. And please, ladies, hear this clearly. My precious, precious queens, you deserve support even if you are not ready to leave today. There is no timeline that you must follow. There are no steps that you must follow. What you need to do is reach out. Your safety matters at every single stage. And there are people out here that can help you with that. Now, let's talk about how to support a survivor. If someone that you care about may be experiencing domestic violence, your response can make a powerful difference. Many survivors already feel shame or self-blame, so judgment can push them further into isolation. So avoid blaming questions like, why don't you leave? Or why do you keep letting this happen? Instead, say things like, I believe you. You don't deserve this. I'm here whenever you're ready. How can I support you? Support without pressure helps survivors feel less alone and more empowered to seek help when they are ready. When someone is experiencing abuse, they often feel like their control over their own life has been stripped away. Pushing them, issuing ultimatums, or demanding that they leave immediately, even if it comes from a place of love, can unintentionally recreate that same feeling of powerlessness. What survivors often need most is consistent, calm support that reminds them that they have choices. Simply listening, checking in, offering practical help like a safe place to stay or childcare, and reminding them that they deserve safety can help rebuild the confidence that abuse has tried to erode. All right, Hive, it is time for our affirmation of the week. Take a breath, let your shoulders drop for a moment, and say this with me or write it down somewhere you can come back to it. My safety, my voice, and my life matter. I refuse to shrink myself to survive someone else's cruelty. I am worthy of peace, respect, and a life free from fear. Let that sit with you for a moment. Because abuse tries to convince women that they are powerless. It tells them that they are stuck. It tells them that they deserve what is happening. And that is a damn lie. The truth is that every woman has inherent dignity, value, and the right to live without violence. This affirmation is all about reclaiming that truth. It is about remembering that your life is not meant to be lived walking on eggshells. It is meant to be lived with safety, autonomy, and peace. If this discussion stirred something in you, recognition, anger, sadness, or maybe even hope, that reaction is completely valid. Domestic violence is not just a private relationship issue. It is a social issue, a public health issue, and a human rights issue. But here's the part that gives me hope. Survivors rebuild their lives every single day. Women rediscover their strength. Women leave dangerous situations. Women heal trauma. Women help other women find the door out. And when women support each other instead of judging each other, that is when real cultural change begins. This is exactly the kind of collective power that this hive stands for. All right, Queens. If today's episode resonated with you, please consider sharing it. You never know who in your circle might quietly need to hear this conversation. And if you want to continue these discussions in a supportive space, come join us inside the Hint Hive Facebook group, where women connect, share experiences, and lift each other up. And if you're looking for something a little more private and want to work with me on sorting through some of this stuff, please reach out. I am always excited to empower and assist my fellow ladies whenever I can. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Those reviews help more women discover the Hive and access empowering conversations just like this one. Until next time, ladies, remember this. Your voice matters. Your safety matters. And here in the Hive, we keep amplifying women's voices. Until next time, ladies. This podcast is powered by Kelly Hint Empowerment Coaching, as well as Kelly M. Hint LMHC and The Cranky Counselor. To find out more about coaching services, head over to CoachKellyHint.com. If you'd like to know more about the psychotherapy services I offer to individuals within the state of New York, you can check out KellyMHint.com. And if you'd like to learn more about aromatherapy, you can check out TheCrankyCounselor.com.